Hi everybody, welcome back for another edition of the CrossFit Games Update Show as we get set for the 2014 Reebok CrossFit Invitational presented by HGST. We are on the campus of HGST. It's serving as the main practice point for the 4 teams taking part in the event on Sunday. Last up, Australia, and joining us now, the coach of that team. He's a 3-time CrossFit Games competitor and a member of Team World that won the Invitational last year in Berlin, and that is Chad McKay. Chad, thank you so much for joining us. First of all, how are you guys feeling after that hellacious trip?
The guys and I are feeling pretty good. We're a few of the guys had a few domestic flights in Australia, and then from Sydney to LAX. So they got a few hours sleep the first night we got here, and we're all recovered and ready to go.
Well, first of all, thanks to you and you for not making me look small here on camera. No insecurities. But little birdie told me that everyone practiced yesterday. Heard Canada took an approach of just some technique work, not really getting a sweat going, and heard that Team Australia was all business, getting after it, getting a serious workout in. So can you just tell me, what did you guys do? What decisions did you make as a coach?
Decided to warm the team up with some kind of team-based stuff with the med ball. Just to get the guys working pretty closely together, making sure they're moving well as a team and communicating. And then we did probably 5 short little team-based workouts.
Okay.
And they were all around team-based stuff, so synchronized. And then just some short little relay things just to get their heart rate up, moving fast.
Communication kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
As well?
Yeah.
Last time we had an Invitational, you were on the team that won it. What do you take from that experience as an athlete and now apply to your role as a coach?
I think it's all about making sure the athletes are looked after during training. And anything in and around training times, just making sure they're communicating, whether we have to be at a certain event on time, and just making everything run smoothly for the athletes. And then during training, making sure that everything's mapped out so they know what they're doing from start to finish in training times.
When we did our Skype interview, you said, everyone's kind of scattered around Australia, so you're going to either talk to the athletes or speak with the coaches and just learn who your team was. So what did you learn? Who's Team Australia?
Look, we've got some really experienced athletes. Kara and Rob have been to the games a few times. Kara was in the Invitational last year, and those guys are seasoned veterans. Denae has been around the traps for a while. She actually competed while she was pregnant in the regional, so she had to sit out for 1 year. So, and Khan's been on the scene for a couple of years, so we've got some experienced team members. And I just wanted to get in touch with them and find out from their coaches if they needed anything in particular, kind of leading up to the event.
So far, so good.
Yeah.
So saw a really cool quote posted on Instagram yesterday, and you put it up. It was, "A champion team will beat a team of champions." Can you just tell us why'd you put that up and where'd it come from?
It was one of my business partners, Luke Starr. He's competed for our affiliate at the games the last couple of years. And he was telling me a little story. I asked him a little bit of advice on anything that I should help the team out with. And he just gave me this cool little quote that he got from his rugby union coach. They were going through the whole season and they were kind of like the underdog for the season. And they were in the grand final against a really big team. And his coach just said to him that quote, and I thought that was pretty cool. It's pretty relevant to the team, and we've got a team of champions, so we'll see how it goes over the event.
Love it.
For you personally, we missed seeing you at the games this past year. Are we going to see you back in 2015?
Yeah, I'll give it another crack for sure.
we hope so. Chad, thanks so much for joining us, and good luck to you and the rest of the Australia team. Let's take a closer look at the squad that Chad has to work with. Veteran-laden team led by Kara Webb, 3-time games competitor, was close to winning the whole thing last year until that injury derailed her. Denae Brown, she's qualified for the games twice. Con Porter, the only games rookie, but a great debut for him, especially in the beach event, the event that opened up the 2014 Reebok CrossFit Games. And then Rob Forte, another 3-time games competitor, and won the triple threes in convincing fashion, and he is standing by with Miranda Oldroyd.
Thanks, Sean. All right, Rob, before we get into talking about your team, let's talk about your performance this year at the games. You've been to the games 3 times, best performance ever this year. How are you feeling coming off of your 12th place finish?
Yeah, I feel really good. It's good to finally get a decent finish at the games. A few things come together. I practiced a lot of stuff going home after 2013, and it paid off in 2014. And it's really good to have this opportunity, being around the team in a different environment. So testing a few other things that I don't have experience in, but that's cool as well.
Yeah, so kind of a great year altogether, placed the best you ever have at the games, and now here you are having the opportunity to represent Australia at the Invitational. How excited are you for that?
Yeah, really pumped. I wasn't expecting a Team Australia to come together. I thought they might do the Team World thing, and I was hoping for an email for that, but then when I got the email saying, would you be part of Team Australia, I thought, oh, that's awesome. To get 4 of us from the same country, actually get some recognition, it's pretty cool.
And you're the captain of the team as well. How are you using that role to kind of bring this team together?
Just make sure everyone's communicating, being the person that's calling it on the floor, and that's what we sort of try to practice, but also making sure the others are taking on those roles as well, not just leaving it to me. So, and I can also see how everyone's feeling and just change things on the fly, and I think it's more about the communication more so than anything else. Yeah.
Now, you and Kara are a little bit more well known in the CrossFit world because both of you have been to the games multiple years and have done really well. How are Con and Denae fitting into the team, and what are they bringing to this Australian team?
Yeah, they're both fitting in really well. Really good people, easy to get along with. We all get along really well. Khan moves super fast, which is great for team stuff, so always trying to keep up with him, and same with Denae. She just go, 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 go. So with the communication and that speed element, I think we can do really well.
You mentioned checking in. Your role as the leader is checking in on how people are feeling.
Yeah.
People are wondering, obviously, how Kara's feeling. Is she back to 100%? How are you feeling with her on your team for the Invitational?
I don't think she's 100%. She's still managing what she's had to deal with, but there's nothing holding her back. So she just needs to take a little bit more time while warming up certain movements, but she's ready to go. I don't think anything's going to stop her, which is cool.
All right. Thanks, Rob.
No worries.
Back to you, Sean.
Thanks, Miranda. Rob Forte is one of the 3-time games competitor on the Australia team. The other joining us now, and that is Kara Webb, who is also a member of Team World, who won the Invitational last year. Thanks so much for joining us. First off, last time we saw you, you were unfortunately withdrawing from the CrossFit Games. What exactly happened to you, and how are you now?
Okay, so it's a long story. I'm going to cut it. I'm going to cut it down a little bit. 2 days after getting to LA, I was feeling pretty fine when I got there. 2 training sessions in, and I was doing power cleans and just got this really sharp pain in my chest and sort of didn't know what it was. I got some treatment and they said, like, you've got a nerve that's upset, so a nerve that's swollen, impinged, whatever. It's creating this, like, you know, sort of debilitating pain that just sort of stops you in your tracks. If anyone's had nerve pain, you know, it's different. Took a lot of anti-inflammatories and then went into the competition to see what I could do. I sort of slowly started to notice that the pain was disappearing. It wasn't sharp, so I was able to do most things. But then as soon as I went upside down into a handstand walk, isolating that one side was too much, and I knew straight away that something was wrong when I was warming up. That didn't quite feel right upside down. I went out there and, you know, that distance that I would normally be able to manage quite easily, I wasn't able to. Took me off. My whole arm went numb, so down into my fingers, and I couldn't coordinate it. I had pins and needles. I couldn't feel it, so the medical team advised me to not go on. They said the symptoms of this point towards something like a slip disc, something that could do damage long term, you know, and they came and spoke to my coach and he made the call. He said, I'll be the bad guy, but I'll make the decision. You're a 24-year-old woman. You've got a long way to go and a lot in your life. It's not worth it not knowing what it is. I couldn't have gone out anyway. I couldn't have held onto a rope or a barbell for that final. So there was no way, my heart was kind of saying, go out and just try and do something. But my head, and thanks to my coach being there, we decided that it wasn't worth it, for me to be able to come back next year and the year after. And it turns out, it's just something I couldn't have controlled, so it's all come from my jaw, hence like when I'm talking weird and I got things in my mouth. My jaw never finished growing as a child, and I developed like a crossbite, so my bottom jaw has just been crooked for a long time, over 20 years worth of being crooked, and then doing CrossFit and putting my body under the strain that I do, it all tightened up so much on one side that it compressed that nerve and damaged it temporarily, I guess. So a blessing in disguise, still terrible timing, but in saying that, if it hadn't happened at a time that it was, the most important to me, and the thing I care about the most, and maybe I wouldn't have taken it seriously enough and I wouldn't have fixed it. So I'm just in a process now of I'm doing a lot of dental work. I've got these things in my mouth for 4 months, and I'm growing my top jaw, which is crazy. I didn't even know that was possible. At the moment, I'm doing everything, I'm training everything. I'm still scared as hell of handstand walking. I still have that fear, and I think that's going to take a little while. I lost trust in my body, and because it crept up on me quite fast, and I lost that trust, and I'm a bit fearful of it, but I just got to be mindful and work through it like anything.
And that was obviously, like you said, incredibly unexpected.
Yeah.
But where you were at that point in time, leading up to the games, in your training, in your mentality, shy of what happened to you, do you feel like you were actually in a position this year to have won the games?
Yeah. I think that was really one of the hardest parts. Obviously, I wanted to see it out all the way till the end. I've said before, whatever I walk away with, I'm happy as long as I did everything I could all the way till the end. But I was cut short, and it almost does seem a little bit cruel to let me get that far, but let me get that far sitting on top. To show, oh my gosh, I can do this. I'm not even at my full potential. I can barely string 3 muscle-ups together in the biathlon, but I'm still able to hold up the top. And then to just go to blow out on me again, that was hard, and I grieved a lot for that. But it is what it is. I definitely think I have the ability to. I think there's a bunch of us that definitely have the ability to, and it obviously comes down to a whole lot of factors. This year, I think I could have, but it wasn't meant to be for me, and the girls that were on the podium did an amazing job, and they worked their butts off, and given what we were given and what I was given, that's where it fell for 2014.
With that being said, do you feel like you come to the Invitational now with something to prove?
Yeah, I think I'm also what I was really hoping to get out of this, obviously I love being on an Australian team. I just think that's really cool. And I love the Invitational. I love what it does for the sport and just promoting how fun and awesome CrossFit is, and we all get to throw down. I love that. But for myself, I would like a little bit of fire back in me for that competition. I've been training really hard in my gym and finding my way, good days and bad days, and managing treatment, and it's quite overwhelming. And I think I just need a bit of fire. I need to be around some other athletes. I need to come around where CrossFit is at its best and just get really excited again. And that's what I was hoping to get out of this.
Well, I think you're in the absolute perfect environment to do that.
Yeah.
I was doing what I do with all the athletes, which is stalk you on Instagram. And saw you and Denae Brown doing buddy carries back and forth, which didn't seem fair.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, what have some teams have come in here and really put themselves through the grinder, some are focusing more on technique. What have your practice sessions looked like leading up to the Invitational?
Yeah, so Chad's been doing a really good job of just making sure, it's difficult, you get a coach who, he's a great coach, and you've got 4 different athletes that you haven't worked with before, and you're trying to find, we're trying to figure each other out at the start, because we know, and we learned from last year, Chad being on the team, that it's all about communication. And that's one thing I think that Aussies do really well. We communicate quite well, sometimes a little louder than we should, but, we communicate quite well. We spent a bit of time. Everything that we've been doing is, trying to get the bodies working and active again. But ultimately, we're trying to figure each other out as athletes. We've always gone against each other, and now we're coming together as a team and figuring out how we can best work together as a team.
Kara, thank you so much for coming by, and we're so glad you're feeling better, and we really look forward to seeing you compete, not only on Sunday, but hopefully at the games as well next year. Best of luck to you and the rest of the Australia team. That is going to do it for us here at HGST. We want to thank them so much for hosting us here, and the 4 teams participating in the 2014 Reebok CrossFit Invitational presented by HGST. Sunday, November 9th, 4 p.m. Pacific time, Australia, Canada, Europe, and the United States throwing down. If you can't be there live, watch the whole thing on games.crossfit.com. If you can be there, get there early, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., food, tailgating, beer. It's going to be a blast. Vendor Village will be there, and the first 2,000 people in the door get a 2014 Reebok CrossFit Games program. For Miranda Oldroyd and Pat Sherwood, I'm Sean Woodland, and we will see you guys at the 2014 Reebok CrossFit Invitational presented by HGST.